All right, welcome back to another episode of the Four Train Savages podcast. Today is October 24th, episode number 17 for you guys, and we have a very special guest for you. Tyler, I'm surprised you didn't throw on the shades or the headband for him this episode. Keith McPherson from the Pinstripe Strong Pod and a member of John Boy Media. Keith, what's up, bro? Oh, there he is, throwing on the shades.
Yeah, sure, baby. Let's go.
Yo, what up, guys? Thanks for having me. And let's talk about the Yanks. Let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, man, appreciate you coming on. It was a big time thing for us to have you. Been listening to your comments. For anyone that probably, you guys should be listening to all things Keith on Pinstripe Strong and John Boy Media. But if you haven't, we're going to dive into the 2020 season, kind of takeaways, postseason recap, all that. So, Keith, it started off a little inconsistent. Well, we started off good, first 20-game stretch with the Yankees, then a kind of 20-game lull, and then another good 20, or I would say 15, and then the last week, feeling a little shaky heading into the postseason. Then we absolutely just roll over the Cleveland Indians, and then Tampa Bay happens. So what was kind of your vibe coming off of the regular season heading into the postseason, and then what were you also thinking just based off what happened in the Tampa series and as well as the Cleveland series, and what your vibe was going into to the next series?
Roller coaster of a season where you weren't sure what Yankees team you were going to get. Man, we came out of the gate so hot. I was thinking we were going to win 35, 40 games. And then we came down to earth. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a Yankee season a recent Yankee season without injuries. And we start getting hurt. Guys start dropping. And I'm like, there's no way in hell this can happen 2 years in a row. Like, there's no way we can be putting this many guys on the IL. And I don't know, just looking around the league, I was like, they can have this 60-game season. I'm a stadium guy. I can't even go to the game. I don't care about this season. And then we figured it out later on. We had a nice little win streak. What did we win, like 10 games in a row?
Yep.
Later in the year, and then just watching the guys play in Buffalo, that's like watching us struggle against the Buffalo Blue Jays.
Yes, bro. I was saying it all year. I was like, yo, Tyler, Buffalo Blue Jays, what are we going into? And that stadium just aggravated us every time.
It wasn't even a stadium, bro. It was just a field by the highway in Buffalo.
It was just a piece of grass.
The New York Yankees had no business playing out there, but it is what it is in this 2020 pandemic coronavirus season. But then, we got walked off by the Mets this year in Yankee Stadium. We go to Baltimore, and we're like one run away from them sweeping us in Baltimore, which never happened. So looking at this season, I was like, this is bizarro world. I can't get too high or too low. But once the postseason came, I'm like, hey, it's October. And you guys know, as Yankee fans, like, we expect the Yankees to perform in October, whether it's this janky-ass postseason that they came up with a wild card round and then a division round, or whether it's what we've seen in the past. So, hey, it didn't end the way we wanted to end, but shit, the last 11 years haven't ended the way we wanted it to end.
It's the team. I've been calling it the team that almost could, and I feel like I'm going to be continuing to do that until this core kind of
gets their shit together. Gets it together, man.
And it's not even just these guys. It's not even just the core. It's the front office. It's the suits. It's the manager, the pitching coach. It's everybody in the organization. And, yeah, when you said that just now, it made me think, like I've said on a few podcasts, my worst nightmare right now is that we have this team with Judge, Stanton, Garrett Cole, Luke Voit, DJ LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres, Clint Frazier, like all of these, like, names. Really good baseball players and like names that can stand alone. But then together, my worst nightmare is that these guys never get it done. They never stay healthy. They never play together for a full 162 and win the World Series. My worst nightmare is having all this talent right now and then it going to waste in a few years, because we all know this championship window is not forever. I don't want to say it's closing, but we've been in it for a little while in the last few years, going to the ALCS, going to the ALDS. Like, that means you're in your championship window if you can get that far. And when you don't get it done, the reality is that, hey, that window is closing. And my worst nightmare is that this team as currently constructed, doesn't get it done.
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of ties into the next subject, but I would say just as a whole of the season and the comments that were made. So something I have always said when we got rid of Girardi, and I don't want to go too much into the manager because I'm sure that you saw the comments about him not being a puppet, and I heard on your guys' podcast about your perception of it, and saying it's not really Boone making the decisions, and it's not really him doing it, and I understand because like even though Cashman came out and said, yeah, I let Boone, I give him full reign, I really kind of want to call BS on it, but that's what he said, so it is what it is. But my thing with Boone was it wasn't like I just didn't know. We regressed more than we progressed with him so far. So I kind of wanted to know what are your thoughts on Boone now that you kind of cooled off from the season, and do you still kind of think that the front office is really calling the shots, or do you think there's anything to those Cashman comments or what?
I like Boone. I think Boone is a good guy. Obviously coming over from ESPN, and then prior to that being a baseball guy, ESPN gave him that like media savvy, that television savvy, that how to carry yourself in front of the camera, in front of the press type of vibe. Like I like Boone for that, and he's a manager that came in and won 100 games back-to-back years. Can't take that away from him. I have cooled down because there's just like a lot going on with like there's decisions in the game, and there's a lot of decisions and talk about decisions that the Yankees made, and so many people think that this is old school baseball where like the manager is the end all be all. Like that's not true. And I don't care what like Cashman comes out and says. I don't care what Hal comes out and says. I'm calling Cap if you say he's not a puppet. He is a puppet. Like it's okay. It's not saying you're a puppet and like taking anything away from your managerial skills or your baseball knowledge. Boone comes from a baseball family. He's a baseball guy. But he is a puppet in the sense of he is there to act out the commands and the thoughts and the wishes of the front office. And yes, they will say, no, Aaron Boone has a say in some of these decisions, but does he have the final say? Can he be overruled? If he has the final say, then he's not a puppet. I think he doesn't have the final say. I think he has like an opinion and he's sitting at the table, but at the end of the day, when you decide to roll J Happ in there in game 2 after Davy Garcia, and we all know that whole fiasco, it's like, what manager is doing that? Like, I'm managing a team. I'm not doing that. So I like Boone personality-wise. He definitely showed us some character this year, too. He wore the Black Lives Matter shirt.
Yeah.
I learned this year that he's got adopted kids that are Haitian.
Yeah.
But
how he broke down at that press conference after the game. Yeah,
that was quite the interview.
I was like, whoa, I didn't realize. So like, this is something that's impacting Boone in his household. So I got no issues with the guy as far as him, but I do have issues with the Yankees trying to come out and tell us Boone's not a puppet. Yes, he is. When he interviewed and he went on this long, like they said he had like a 3-hour interview and all this stuff. I guarantee you what those interviews were about was like, are you willing to like basically like do our work? Are you willing to be the extension of the front office? Are you willing to work with us and our analytics team and kind of go out there and execute the plans that we have? And he does.
Yeah. The thing with me, I like you said, I don't really, in terms of personality and who he is as a person, I have no issue with him. I just have flashbacks of him keeping in Severino too long in the Boston series, and then us losing that, and then Ottavino being put in the game of it is last year, and now just the questionable decision with Mike Ford and conflicting comments when it comes to yeah, we did tell J Happ he was definitely coming in the sixth or second inning, but we also told Devi Garcia he could go longer. So I'm questioning what I think there should be some sort of accountability when it comes to Yankee fans, because we're looking and we're saying, okay, we get this new managerial staff, we get all these new personnel in there, all these new personalities. We're supposed to make progress towards that 28th ring, no? And I'm just thinking to myself, and a lot of Yankee fans they're just looking for something to kind of grasp at. And the cool-headed ones like you are going to say, okay, we understand what's happening, but there should be some sort of accountability. No, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
There has to be. I mean, it's tough because this is new age baseball. And, you know, the old days of Billy Martin and not even, let's just go back to Joe Girardi, right?
People calling for Buck Showalter for the Yankees. I'm like, no, that is not happening. Just absolutely not. I like Buck.
Nah.
Buck's a good baseball mind, but
On
keep
Yes
dreaming.
Network. I like Buck when they go to him after the game and Buck can tell you everything that you didn't see. I like that.
Yeah.
But I
He
do
breaks
not
it down
want
the real way.
I do not want old ass Buck Showalter coaching 23-year-old Gleyber Torres. When I look at the managers, what it was back in the day before analytics and before, like, it was like these managers are going off their gut feeling, and these managers are going off of like what they know about their team and the guys and stuff like that.
Kind of like that eye test.
A lot of eye tests, a lot of literally like look your pitcher in the eye, see if he's good enough to go or keep going, or if he doesn't have that look in his eye, take him out. That stuff's done, man. I don't care what the Yankees say. We all watched that game.
You think it's done, but don't you think it should be still a factor within the game, though, right? Because when I see Boone making, I like me and Tyler had been talking about when it comes down to, and people are like, oh well, I think they told that Mike Ford decision, even though we joke about it. But don't you think that's something like an eye test or a gut test of saying, okay, I'm willing to go in and put this guy in, even though he hasn't really shown me anything through this season?
Yeah, but that's a stupid ass eye test. Like,
okay.
The only thing that righty lefty matchup
that's so dumb though.
It's ridiculous.
When was the last time we saw Mike Ford get a hit before we threw him into the fire?
So that's what's just telling me about his gut decisions. I'm like, what?
I don't think it was him. Like, see, like when I see Mike Ford go in, not just once, twice. Mike Ford was the pinch hit guy because of the lefty matchup, and it's like, yo, Mike Ford doesn't even play. This guy is coming cold off the bench. Mike Ford this year had some of the worst at bats.
He's been one of the worst hitters on this roster the entire year.
He hit under 150. I think he batted 135, and I understand they say he's a professional hitter, and I also understand that in 2019 he was very clutch for us. He hit home runs in Dodger Stadium to win it. He hit a home run in Yankee Stadium against the A's to walk it. Like, I get that.
A-Rod said he was Babe Ruth on the broadcast, so apparently I think that he's Babe Ruth. He's the new Bambino, man.
They OD, especially A-Rod. A-Rod always is ODing with his takes and the thing he says. But yeah, when we're talking about eye test, gut feeling, I feel like that isn't Boone right there. Put Clint in, you know.
Clint Frazier, man. We love the Clint Frazier this year. I love to see it.
So do I. How can I mean, if you're a hater on Clint Frazier now, I get last year, but even last year I was like, yo, Clint's just got some growing up to do. He's got to work on his game. He's got to get his head right, his priorities right. But if you're still hating on Clint Frazier now, you're not a Yankee fan. You're not a baseball fan.
Gold Glove finalist. Gold Glove finalist this year.
If somebody would have told you that, if somebody would have told you that a year ago, like, yeah, whatever, Clint Frazier will be a Gold Glove finalist in 2020, you would have said, hell no. Where?
Fitting for 2020.
We're gonna trade him and he's gonna get instantly better.
Yeah, man.
So Keith, I know you mentioned that. So you don't really think that Boone has much in-game decision either? Because I know you mentioned that even kind of the Mike Ford thing that wasn't on him.
But like a pinch hit spot, I think that's already scripted out. Like, you know how football,
like we're going with the matchup.
Hey, if we end up in a 3rd and 20, we got the go-to plays for this 3rd and 20. If this 3rd and 20 is on our side of the 50-yard line, we're going with this. You know, like, I feel like the Yankees' brain trust already had it in their mind. If Castillo is pitching for the Rays, we're going to pinch hit Mike Ford. But it's like, yo, like, Mike Ford is cold. Mike Ford, he hasn't had a hit since, I don't know, mid early September.
Insane.
And he even so, right? He didn't have a great year. Clint had a great year. And here's something that people probably aren't going to expect. When we needed a spark, who do we go to this year? We went to Miguel Andujar. We went and got him.
Yeah, that was frustrating too to not see him make.
So it's like, yo, if you guys need somebody's bat and you want to pinch hit a guy, put Clint Frazier or Miguel Andujar in there before Mike Ford. I get it because he's a lefty, but maybe the Yankees need to have more options with left-handed bats.
Hey man, say what you want about Miguel Andujar's glove and his throwing arm. The dude can hit baseballs, and
Yeah.
I was shocked that he was left off the roster. I told Tyler, and I guess it was just the Yankees' brain trust and trusting in Mike Ford and wanting him, and that's what I just said. That's the decisions that make me just really. I know it's a small decision, but it just has me saying, why are you doing that? Where Miguel Andujar would come in the game during the regular season, and I think he finished off in the last week. I think he was hitting pretty well. And he's just a natural hitter, and people say what you want about his glove, but the dude can hit, and that's what you need in the postseason. So that was just frustrating for me to just see that happen. But
just comes down to that righty bat.
yeah,
That's all it is.
It's super annoying. Like,
before we move on, the Yankees this year tried to play the other game, right? The game that the Rays play, or the Astros play, or even the Dodgers play, the analytic game, play matchups, and it's like, you're the Yankees.
They didn't play
your
Yankees,
game.
Yeah.
Play your game.
What you said that I liked is that they tried to get cute and play the Rays game. Like that's all they were doing, and that just exemplified in the game too.
The Rays have to do that because of they don't have the payroll, the way that they have to field the team. Yeah, they're rolling out a new lineup every day. They're playing matchups every day because that's how they have to win with what they have. The Yankees are supposed to win with power, with just being that much better than you. And we went away from that. We tried to, let's get Mike Ford in there, lefty versus lefty. Like, that's not it.
Yeah. So talked about a little bit of the comments and everything. More so, I guess this kind of ties in eventually what 2021 will do in the free agency period, but talked about Clint Frazier, talked about the bright spots that we saw, I guess a little bit from Miguel Andujar, if that's for anything. But what were some of the bigger, obviously Luke Voit, DJ LeMahieu, you could argue, I'd say more on the side of DJ, but you could argue who on the Yankees would be an MVP this year. So what were some of the things that you just really like to see out of the team this year, other than, dwelling on the negativity and what may happen with the front office and how that whole fiasco is going? What did you like specifically from the rosters and kind of the lineup, pitching staff? What do you need to see there? Debbie Garcia coming up. What was your kind of vibe with the roster this year?
From the lineup, a guy like Luke Voit leading the league in home runs is awesome for us. A guy like Luke Voit, who couldn't really figure it out anywhere else, hit his stride with us. For him to lead the league in home runs when we have guys like Judge, we have guys like Giancarlo Stanton, who have led the league in home runs. For him to emerge this year and show that he's a bopper too, that's huge. Hopefully he can continue that and be our first baseman for years to come. Who else in the lineup? Gio, there were question marks around Gio going into this year, whether it would be Gio or Andujar, if Gio was a one-year wonder, if Gio could still hit. And he went quiet at times, but, no one could ever take that grand slam away from him in Cleveland,
against his old team, big time moment.
That.
Offensively, it's just icing on the cake, whatever he can kind of give us, he's done more than any of us, I think, can ask for at the hot corner. So, take what we get at the plate.
He's ridiculous with his glove, and you got to love it. I mean, that's our third baseman. And in the outfield, a guy like Aaron Hicks coming back from Tommy John surgery and not missing a game, and then
not a damn game.
raising his game in the postseason when we really needed him to. And, pitching wise, Garrett Cole, obviously we finally have an ace. He cost us a lot, but it's damn good to have an ace like Garrett Cole. Davy Garcia, he made a jump that I didn't think he was ready to make this year. Maybe it was a 2020 year, slow heartbeat, no fans in the stands. Davy Garcia is a huge win for us. That's a guy that we can expect to be in the rotation next year.
He got rocked in spring training too,
they're calling him a little Pedro. A little Pedro. Yeah. That's a little aggressive, but I don't know. Not yet. I know his idol is Pedro, but we'll see where he goes.
I love how Pedro loves him too. Shows him so much love. Big respect to Pedro there. I can give him that.
He doesn't give up a lot of ding dong Johnsons, as fucking Pedro says.
I love when they saw the 45 belt and people thought it was Garrett Cole's belt. They're like, no,
that's what I thought.
That's a tribute to Who's Your Daddy. But what was I gonna say about Davy Garcia? Yeah, it's awesome to have him in the rotation. But when you were looking at this rotation last year, it was like Domingo Herman, J Happ, Paxton. I mean, for us to find a Davy Garcia this year, for us to, figure it out with a few different guys. I don't know. I think there's a lot of good things to take away from this season. Clint Frazier, can't forget about Clint. When you look at this year, this was Clint's year. This was Clint's maturation year, his defensive year, his year to say, like, I'm not going back down. I'm out of options. Like, I'm here to stay. So, yeah, those are some key things for me, I think.
Tyler, do we want to bring up the fiasco that we've been having with Gleyber Torres?
I think we may. Touchy subject, but
I just want to warn you before he says this. I'm a fan of Gleyber Torres, but you could go ahead, Tyler, and explain the situation. It's just the defense scared me a little bit this year as our starting shortstop. Go ahead, Tyler, in the situation.
All right, so I explained this last pod, but Keith, so me and Rob kind of had this little argument over the phone regarding Gleyber Torres. I don't know if you caught the most recent press conference with like Cash and Boone and Hal and all that. I assume you did, but Cashman said something about how they were going to evaluate the shortstop position, which I thought was a little alarming. Not alarming, I shouldn't say, but a little different because I'm used to hearing Cash say things like, "Oh yeah, 60-game season. We're gonna give Gleyber another full year at short, see what he can do." I think he played below his talent level, which he kind of did hint to. He did mention he thinks Gleyber can play better short, but he said kind of that he's going to reevaluate. They'll evaluate the shortstop position moving forward, which was kind of weird to me. I mean, I think Gleyber is, besides Garrett Cole, the most untouchable piece on this roster from top to bottom. I mean, he's 23 years old. He hit 38 home runs. I think he hit like close to 280 in 2019. He was pretty much the best hitter on that team besides DJ. And I don't know. Rob had a different feeling regarding that.
All I was thinking when he said that in the press conference, and Tyler saw it as very alarming, and all I thought was he has to do that. And I think it's a kind of a way to light a fire under his ass. And hopefully, the last thing I would think is him have a fall off with the bat or his defense the way that Gary Sanchez did. But the comparison that I made to Tyler and kind of, I guess, talked him off the ledge a little bit, I'd say, right, was Marcus Semien. I think it was 5 years ago. They had a serious concern with his throwing arm. And it was a big issue, and the A's fans were like saying, I don't know if we should stick with this guy at shortstop. And now he's a highly coveted free agent this year, and a defense is really not an issue. So all I'm saying is with Gleyber Torres, he would have to have a drastic drop off the way that Gary Sanchez did with his batting average for like a year and a half or something for them to eventually move on, because that guy is a stud. He hits well, but the defense is concerning. And I think it was just a way for Cashman to light a fire under his ass and kind of say, yeah, not everyone's safe. We want you to play better at the position. We know you can hit, but we want you to stay steady at that shortstop position, and especially knowing that they're going in a year where they have to decide a lot of things with the infield, with DJ at second. I mean, I would say Yankee fans would say that's a lock because we want him back because he's a stud and he's the best player on the team. Yeah, cross the fingers. Tyler has a low-key feeling that Steve Cohen is going to steal him for some reason.
some bullshit coming our way. But, yeah, so kind of, Keith, how do you feel about Baby G moving forward?
So, yeah, Gleyber Torres is a prodigy. We heard about Gleyber Torres before he was a Yankee. Everybody in baseball knew about him coming up. His natural position that he played growing up was shortstop. He played second base for 2 years for us. We move him over this year, and it's his first year as the shortstop. It's a 60-game season, and what I originally said was, hey, if he's going to learn the position, if he's going to take his lumps, I'd rather him take it in the 60-game season and not through 162. Like, could you imagine we saw what we saw?
Oh, my goodness.
Times 3?
No, not good.
With Cashman and Boone and Hal in the media, you don't have to marry yourself to the guy in the media. Like, you don't have to tell the media that Gleyber Torres is our future at shortstop. You can tell the media we're going to evaluate the position, as you should be. But as soon as they didn't sign Didi, that pretty much told us all like Gleyber is the future shortstop, and they're going to groom him into that position. They want him to be that rock star. Now, if the guy can't physically do it, because we're all on Yankees Twitter, we all see what people say and hear the chirping about, oh, Gleyber's not a shortstop, he's a second baseman. The guy can't do it. What I will say is he's 23. So they will give him another year, maybe 2, to work on it. And they will get the best people to work with him and work on it. And if you go into the archives, go look at Derek Jeter's first season as full-time shortstop with the Yankees. He had some errors too. There's some other Yankee guys in history that have had errors. The Yankees have seen this before. They're going to work with it, but they are not going to force it. If he can't do it next year, there's going to probably be – I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Jordy Mercer or like some kind of utility infielder that can play short in case like Glaber can't do it. So.
I bet they're probably betting on Tyler Wade though, which I'm not so sure
dude,
about.
I'm done with Tyler Wade.
I am just now like I don't know your feelings, but
Mercer plays great D though.
Jordy Mercer's a good player, but I do not want to. I don't want to see Tyler Wade,
no
Mike
one should
Ford.
Be betting on Tyler Wade, dude.
No, I don't want to see Tyler Wade, Mike Ford, or Mike Talkman on this roster next year. I'll be honest with you.
You can't bet on those guys.
Yeah.
We
took for granted what they did in 2019. You know, that was kind of, I mean, it was unbelievable at the time, and now looking back at it, it was spoiled, I think, as a Yankee fan to kind of have backups do that, and then once again, unbelievable. But Keith, so in regards to those comments, do you think that has anything to do with DJ? Because him saying that they're going to reevaluate or evaluate shortstop, I keep saying reevaluate.
Yeah. So we say that thinking that like potentially if we don't re-sign DJ, we move Glaber back to second and sign a shortstop. No,
just keeping his doors open.
I am 100% positive that not that we re-sign DJ because he's going to have some other suitors, but I'm 100% positive that the number one thing on the list for the Yankees this offseason is re-signing DJ LeMahieu. It isn't to go out and get another Garrett Cole and like, I don't know, Trevor Bauer. It isn't to go sign JT Realmuto. The number one move for the Yankees to win the offseason is to re-sign DJ LeMahieu. That's it.
Stay the fuck away, Steve Cohen. Stay the fuck away.
You think they're the highest bidder, though, Keith? I think that's tough.
I don't think that's the thing, too, right? And we'll be in winter meetings fast. But I don't – that's why I say there's going to be other suitors. I don't think the Yankees will be the highest bidder. But DJ has expressed how much he wants to stay in New York. So they don't have to be the highest bidder. They just got to hit the target with, his agency, his manager, his people, his agent. And I'm sure they're going to take care of DJ. I'm sure it's not going to be something where like, the Angels offer him something ridiculous and the Yankees are nowhere close and he signs with the Yankees. Like they're going to give him a respectable contract because the guy, we got to pay him for what he's done. Like we're going to pay him. And I know he's 32 and people are talking about how many years, whether it's going to be 4 or 5 years, but you got to pay this guy for what he's done. He's been the MVP back-to-back years. And when you signed him, you told him there was no room for him on the starting roster and he came in and crushed it. So we'll see about it.
The way he plays baseball too, kind of, will age well. I think me and Rob have talked about that in the past, but no, I hope so. I hope DJ's around to stay. I think they'll take care of him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, made some good points. Hopefully we just hit his number, and hopefully if someone does offer him more, that he would just be willing to stay because we need him for sure. But that's a good transition kind of into the free agency market. So obviously we all want DJ back. What goals do you see for the Yankees this offseason? I'm a big guy in wanting to re-sign Masahiro Tanaka because we bitch and moan every time at the trading deadline for starting pitching, and I think if it comes at the right price, which that's another thing I'm scared about, if a West Coast team or someone just offers him a crap ton of money, that he may go. But I think because of how steady he's been with us, and he had a rough time in the postseason a little bit in that one start in Tampa, and I don't really put the Cleveland start on him too bad, but because it was raining. But do you want to re-sign Tanaka? What's your vibe with that? And are there any other targets that you're looking for as a fan that you want to see on this roster? I know like Tommy La Stella's been out there talked about and stuff. That's been like a hot name. I don't know if I'm completely sold on that one, but where are we going to put him? But it's okay. What guys do you see?
Well, starting with Tanaka, like I love Tanaka. Like I love his personality, his brand, who he is. Like Tanaka came into the league in 2014, and he was an ace. And I mean, postseason Tanaka before this year, that's all the Yankees really had. Like that was our guy. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. Someone said that like the Golden Eagles in Japan are gonna offer him like 20 million plus a year.
Oh my God, man!
So I'm
he
like,
wants
if
to be in the big leagues, I think.
yeah, I'm like,
You
if he
can't
wants to
reject
go
that
home,
money though. That's a
yeah,
bag, bro.
if
That's
he
a
wants
bag.
to go home and be king, like he's literally a rock star out there, then he should take that. But if he wants to stay here and stay with the Yankees, he's got to take a little bit of a hometown discount. He's got to come in for the low. So we'll see what happens. I think we should re-sign him because, like you said, yeah, we do talk about starting pitching every year.
Yeah, so and two, looking at the starting pitching people out there, a lot have been, Tyler and I have saw everything, and I'm sure you have with the Yankees Twitter. It's just Trevor Bauer, Trevor Bauer, Trevor Bauer, Trevor Bauer. It's like we need him to be the second guy. And of course, I don't know if I'm completely sold that he does want to get on 1-year deals because that's what he said. He's like, I'm going to take 1-year deals every year. And it's like, I don't know. You may want to have that security and be locked in. So what's your feelings on Trevor Bauer? I know Tyler has a really good alternative guy that I think that would fit in nice with the pitching staff. But what's your thoughts on Bauer?
If Bauer was Bauer with no YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, maybe the Yankees take some type of interest in him. But just, and then there's also that narrative that him and Garrett Cole don't like each other from college. These two guys couldn't be more opposite of guys. Like Garrett Cole is not on any social media. He does not do all of that extra stuff. Trevor Bauer does. I think there's a 0% chance we see Trevor Bauer pitch for the New York Yankees. One, I don't think they're going to pay him what he will command. I think there's going to be a lot of teams interested in his services. And then two, his personality, his bravado, the walking like,
Conor McGregor.
Walking like Conor McGregor.
Like, strut.
I don't think they're looking at that as the Yankee way or him fitting in the Yankee way. And the Yankees have some young pitchers that they're going to definitely expect to contribute. I don't think we're getting Trevor Bauer. But what I will say for the whole offseason, because I don't, on Pinstripe Strong, Joe's and Chris were talking about it. The fact that Hal did not have to come on the Michael K show at all and talk about this season. The fact that Hal came out on the Michael K show and said that, we took a hit more so than anyone else in the league, which is 100% true. Yankee Stadium, probably second to Dodger Stadium as far as expensiveness. Like I've been to both, and I went to both last season, obviously, and like Dodger Stadium, the prices in Dodger Stadium are nuts. Like you don't want to buy anything in there.
$17 cheesesteak at Yankee Stadium. Pretty fire though, but it's expensive.
Fire. Well, the Jersey Mike's cheesesteak.
Yeah, bro, it's good. It's good. I miss going to the stadium, having some tall boys and stuff.
Some garlic fries, chicken bucket. Yeah, me too, man. But for Hal to come out and say, hey, we took the biggest loss. It's like, duh, we know you guys took the biggest loss without games. And we know that your only business is the Yankees. So I don't think the Yankees are going to spend. I think what they're going to do is try and keep as many guys as they can. DJ, Zach Britton, maybe Tanaka. And then look for some type of trade or look for some type of like cash god move. I don't know.
Yeah. Tyler, we've been talking about it lately on the podcast, and you have the vibe that Kevin Gausman is a good option possibly for us because he just had, if you look at his numbers this year, and we don't really pay too much attention to him because we're Yankee fans, but you look at his numbers and you got to take notice of a guy that can possibly fit in here.
Yeah, I think if they go the direction of kind of not going after Tank, which, I'll be very upset if I don't get to see Tanaka pitch every fifth day. But, I mean, it is what it is, I do like Kevin Gausman. I think he could be kind of a fill-in arm in the rotation. But I mentioned last pod, I do also feel it could kind of clog up the rotation, which I don't want, especially knowing that we have so many young guys like Gumbo and Clark Schmidt and Devi. I don't think Clark's going to be around at the beginning of the season next year. I think they're going to have him have some time in the minors. Hopefully there is a minor league season next year because I feel horrible for those guys over there. And I'm also not done with the gumbo experiment, to be completely honest. I know you are, Rob. Keith, how do you feel about Jordan Montgomery?
Jordan Montgomery, Gumbo, you call him, Gumby.
Yeah, man, Gumbo.
Monty. I think because of what he did in the ALDS, giving us a good 4 innings in that game.
A scary 4 innings.
Yeah, and in a scary 4 innings in that game where we didn't know what to expect from him. John Boy and I both were like, John Boy and I said, I was like, I need like 2, maybe 2 1/3.
Yeah, one time through the order.
3 innings, yeah. And John Boy's like 6 to 9 outs. Like we all kind of just threw out at the same time what we thought. I'm like, all right, yeah. And he surpassed that. So I think just that alone, now that he's got that under his belt, like that postseason experience, they are going to give him the opportunity to be in this rotation. And I mean, next year, if we can get like, obviously Cole is the number 1, maybe Tanaka number 2. Hap is out of here.
Go home, buddy.
Paxton's probably out of here. But I know people don't like to hear this because they all want to kill this young man for a mistake he made. But Domingo Germán, I'm telling you, Domingo Germán had like 11 wins for us in 2019. He was our ace.
That dude, hell yeah.
Severino too.
Guarantee you.
Yeah, Sevy too.
Yeah, Sevy for the second half of the year next season after Tommy John. I guarantee you Domingo is in the plans. I can't say where he's going to be, what he's going to do, but he's in the Yankees' plans because that dude was looking like an ace before a little incident happened. And I don't know, this rotation, it's going to have Deivi Garcia. So Cole, Tanaka, let's say Germán, Garcia, Monty. There's my 5 right now.
I hear you.
We'll rock with that.
What do you think about like a little I'm kind of a fan of this. The more I kind of think about it and the more I think that Paxton will have time to recover because I kind of think he was injured for a good portion of the season. What do you think about like a 1-year fuck you, prove it to me deal from Pax?
I mean, if he wants that.
It's one or the other, though. Like, you can't get Tank and Pax.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't think we bring back Tanaka and bring back Paxton.
Not for that.
There's a lot to be seen. I think the Yankees might be done with Paxton, too.
I wouldn't hate it if they kind of took a step away from him. But
because now people are looking at Top Chef, and they're saying, hey, the Yankees didn't win that trade. Sheffield pitched well for the Mariners. Cashman lost that trade. So if people are looking at that as a trade that we lost, because when we all signed, big game Maple James, it was like, all right, we got an ace over here. And that was obviously before Cole, a big lefty. And he didn't even kind of come close to meeting expectations. So I don't know. I think the Yankees might be done with him.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems as though Cashman has kind of, other than Cole, it doesn't really seem that he's hit as much as he's missed on starting pitching and just pitching, and other than maybe the bullpen. But even now, the bullpen's kind of taken a turn for the worse now this year. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know. Canely may get a bag this offseason, so I don't even know if it'd be realistic to get him. But other options, I guess, bullpen guys that look, I was saying possibly Trevor Rosenthal with kind of a resurgent year if they can kind of get him, but I don't know if he'll come with a high price tag. Sean Doolittle is out there and the Nats stink, so I was thinking along those lines. But offensively, I don't know if there's really much else you can do other than get another plug-in guy. And I know people have been saying Tommy La Stella, but I think his price tag will be too high for just a guy that's a plug-and-play, and it just doesn't seem realistic. But do we bring back a Brett Gardner? I haven't been really happy with him in the past. I mean, he played really good in the postseason, so I can't say anything about that. But it's just sometimes when he just lets the ball go by and you think that they're going to put him on a 1-year deal?
Yeah, like it's already been talked about. It'll probably be the last thing that gets done. Gardner said that he didn't want his family to miss out on his last season. And with no fans being allowed into the stadium, his family wasn't able to come see him play. So I think the Yankees give him another year, for him to play, for potentially his family to come to the stadium, and for him to go out in a 162 game season. I don't know.
Yeah. So that seems like sort of now that you say that, probably likely, I think they're going to want to give him the respect that he deserves from the Yankee faithful, but
they won't give him $10 million a year.
Yeah, that's why I say it'll probably be the last thing that gets done, because they're going to see what money they have. But also, the Yankees came out and said Giancarlo Stanton is not playing any outfield. He's strictly a DH. So that takes him out of even that, maybe Stanton can play. No, the Yankees said he's not because his legs are cooked. They can't even take the chance that he runs around out there and gets hurt.
It's so damn sad, bro.
It's Judge, it's Hicks, it's Gardy, but really it should be Clint. And then if Tauchman is our fourth outfielder or our fifth outfielder, I don't know.
I'm okay with him on the bench just to run and be that, fourth outfielder.
I've been saying, I don't think it's crazy to say, in terms of our young talent that we've had, because we're a big Clint Frazier podcast. We were saying when we first started this season that he's been he was due for a good year being in the format and everything, and we were thinking along the lines that, and now with the way that Gary's fallen off, and with the exception of DJ because he's older, but we're thinking he can be kind of the third big-time young star alongside. So I would really like to see him get a lot of playing time with him, Clint, Judge, and Glaber being that core three guys outside, pitching staff or anything, because I think he's just that talented with his bat speed. So I'd really like to see him get a lot more. I mean, I think he will. I think he commanded respect this year, so I think he'll get it. But
he commanded respect, and he won by not playing in the postseason as much as he could have, right? He hit a home run in Cleveland, and we didn't see him against the Rays as much as we should have. They should have got him involved more. And I know that there was probably a plan to go with Gardy, the vet, and then it doesn't make sense to pinch hit Clint late and then take Gardy out of a game because that weakens your defense. But we should have had Clint Frazier's bat in there when we are in an elimination game and we can only score one run. Get your best bats in the lineup.
Yeah, and do you really feel better with – I know we already touched upon this, but Mike Ford at the plate than Clint, regardless of a matchup?
That was another thing me and John Boy talked about, because we both – obviously everybody was tweeting about it. But, when we got back to the office, once it was over, I'm like, bro, Mike Ford, he's don't even bring it back up, because
his reaction video to that, I was
it's that's the last person we wanted to see. Honestly,
saw a fucking ghost.
Yeah, but I mean, Tyler, was there any sort of lefty bats that you thought of that at this point that we could even get? Because everyone's throwing out Michael Brantley, and I'm just I don't know.
We're not gonna get Michael Brantley. We should have got him before he went to Houston.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Until he went over with the cheaters. I mean, I don't really see, and I guess it's the overarching thing with this whole offseason. And all these Yankee fans are putting out their wish lists on Twitter and saying we're gonna get this guy, we're gonna get. Expect not to get much, and just try and retain our good players and try and throw them back out next year and see what the young pitchers can do. So and hopefully the bullpen just has something click in their minds that okay, we're going to pitch well now and we're not going to suck. That's really where we're at with this team, I feel.
The thing is, the Yankees have told you two things. If you read between the lines as a Yankee fan, the Yankees have told you two things. We're really close. Right?
The team is almost good.
This team is really close. So that one tells you the Yankees think they have the team as currently constructed to win a World Series. And two, the Yankees told you we lost money. The Yankees are our only business, and we didn't get ticket sales. We didn't get the gate. We didn't get all the overpriced stuff we sell in Yankee Stadium for 6 months. So yeah, those two things will tell you, hey, in this offseason, don't expect much. Yankee Twitter is so whack. People were so quickly into the offseason stuff.
It was aggravating, bro.
For me,
we need Bauer now.
I fell back like Homer Simpson in the bush. I just disappeared because, one, we just went through the longest offseason of our lives. was it, 8 months of an off season.
We don't want to do this. We don't want to be back here.
Exactly.
Like
why are you
fucking
guys
6
so
years.
eager to jump right back into the off-season bullshit? I'm like, I gotta take a break from this. I gotta take a break.
I
Get
feel
my
you,
ass
man.
out of here.
I feel you, man. Yeah, so I don't really can see too much to expect from this offseason. We'll kind of see what happens, but yeah, you must get some crazy mentions of just people tweeting at you.
I do, and that's the thing too, bro. Like, I don't know. I'm blessed that like what I naturally do and what I love to do has come together, and I've gotten to a point where I've got some followers and stuff like that. But I get tagged in like these like conspiracy theories and these trades, mock-ups, and I don't even respond. I'm like, most of the time I want to like hit mute, like don't add me into this stuff. I'm not coming on here to talk about this stuff. And then when I do come on like Pinstripe Strong or I do a guest appearance on a podcast like this and I keep it real, people will hit me up and apologize like, yo, my bad, bro. I'm sorry for atting you about Trevor Bauer. I'm like, yo, it's all good. It's all good. Like, just know I'm not beat for it, bro. Like, we have a long time to do this offseason stuff. 2020 was the year of the offseason. The Yankees played for 2.5 months out of 12.
Oh, that sucks, dude, when you say that.
That's so trash. I'm not ready to be on hot stove. I'm just not.
Hell no.
Yeah. So, real quick before we head into like the expectations of the 2021 season and what needs to be seen and kind of your predictions and everything, real quick, who do you have the World Series right now? I know you haven't been really watching, right?
No, I can't not watch because like so. I am not tweeting about it and actively watching, but I do work at John Boy Media. So we're all working on content and gifts and different things. So I've been paying attention. I got the Dodgers and I've had the Dodgers and I've been for a while saying it should be the Dodgers. It should have been the Dodgers already. I said Dodgers in 6.
Oh, smart man.
It's looking like it could be Dodgers in 6 or 5. And what I really want is for the Dodgers to go ahead and get this monkey off their back, for the Dodgers to go ahead and like get past this.
And then it's our turn. We got to get to the World Series.
Exactly. Like let the Dodgers win. Let the Dodgers win their World Series. If they want to meet us there next year and lose, cool. But like once you win
explode the Bronx.
Once you win it, it is hard to come back and do it again. Mm-hmm. So like if the Dodgers win it this year, in my opinion, they're not winning it next year. MLB has more parity than any other professional league. Like every year, just look at the last few years. The Nationals, like,
out of nowhere,
literally out of nowhere. Even go back a few years well, the Astros cheated, but still that was a team that hadn't won it in years. The Royals, like there's every year there's a different winner, and it's someone that no one necessarily said like that's the one. So let the Dodgers win it this year in a year that they said it should have been Dodgers Yankees, and then when we get back in the stadium for a traditional 162, I think the Yankees can figure out how to get there and do it. And hopefully the Dodgers will be out of the way. Or like I said, they'll meet us in the World Series and lose.
They got the talent, man. I mean, they should be there, you know. It's a shame we haven't even gotten to the big dance yet, you know.
Bro, it's just like when you learn that the Astros cheated in 2017, a magical carpet ride, a year that felt like we were going to get there, and then you – find out 2 years later that they were cheating, and you're coming off of a DJ LeMahieu late home run in Game 6 of the ALCS where it's
I can't believe I didn't have a
alive. Like, yeah. So I don't know, man. It's rough. But
did you? I'm not sure if I saw it on Talking Baseball or your guys' Twitter feed, but it was like a retweet or quote tweet of they got to stop comparing Randy Arozarena to fucking Derek Jeter, man.
Oh my god.
Yo, they got to pause. They got to pause on that. They got to hold your shit. Like
we have a group chat called now it's called Yankee off season, but it's usually like Yankee season, and it's like all of Joe's and Chris's like boys from the Bronx that I've become friends with, and they're all like Yankee fans that have watched the Yankees since they were kids to now. Wrong group to send a MLB tweet where it says Randy greater than Jeter.
Get the fuck out of here! Man.
Yo, we're all like, nah, I didn't send it. I didn't send it. That's where I saw it. But the conversation just starts like, yo, the audacity. Did they really do this? Who let them post this? This person should be fired. And I'm like,
someone got fired.
I'm like, but everybody in the MLB office not everybody, but I've been in the MLB office. I know a lot of the people in there. They're Mets fans. They get a kick out of that shit, and they know it's going to get the attention of Yankee fans, which gives them clicks and replies.
Impressions, all that bullshit.
Talking about Mets fans, yo, you hear that Marcus Stroman shit the other day? Yeah. That was I'm like, Marcus, you haven't really been that good, my guy. You gave, I think it was like 11 starts to the Mets, and those were very wishy-washy starts. And I don't know if you could be comparing yourself to Garrett Cole. I don't even know if would you take him on the Yankees? I mean, he's not going to come here, but just if he wasn't, I wouldn't even touch him.
He's got to stop talking so much. Like, say less, bro. Like, we get it. Like, you're from New York. You wanted to be a Yankee.
He got mad because Cashman called him out and said you're not that good of a player, and then you're not a difference maker. Yeah,
and that's right. And for him to be like on Twitter saying that he's going to be better than anybody the Yankees have the next 5 to 7 years, it's like, bro, like, what are you saying? You're saying yeah, exactly, big cap, like. One, that would mean that, like he said, they wouldn't be they have no one in my league the next 5 to 7 years. So, like, okay, I think you're confused what league you're in.
Yeah.
I also think you're unaware, like, what young pitchers we have. Like Sevy's got a brand new arm. Like, wait,
pretty sure he's working out with Clark this offseason too. I read somewhere.
Stroh is?
Yeah.
So that's wild disrespectful.
You see Clark tweeted back at him?
Nah, what did Clark say?
He said it was mad professional. He said something along the lines of like, game, respect game, bro. See you on the other end, or some shit along those lines. I'm paraphrasing to the max. But
Clark knows he's got some to do before he could ever really speak, and he's got Yankee PR watching him. But
yeah,
hell yeah.
Domingo Germán also chirped back on, I think, like, Yankees Avenue or something. Like, Domingo Germán.
Oh, I did see that.
Wrote in the comments like, oh, is this motherfucker talking shit? Like, something like that. I just think it just looks weak. It's like, Stroman, you are an average pitcher.
You didn't pitch this year.
Exactly. You didn't even pitch this year. You finessed the Mets. You literally opted out as soon as you could opt out and get your money. You're never going to be a Yankee. Stop talking about the Yankees. Say less and just go about your business, bro. And I think I tweeted, like, I hope the Red Sox sign him because I want him to be in the AL East the next 5 years or whatever. So we can every time we face him, or it's him versus one of our young guys, whether it's Davey, whether it's Germán, whether it's Sevy, who knows, like, we can harken back to these tweets to be like, bro, this dude was talking out of his ass.
Yeah, this tweet aged well, huh?
Exactly.
6 earned.
Not going to age well.
So before we wrap up, just talk about the 2021 season a little bit. We talked about the offseason moves and what's kind of going to happen and kind of setting the expectations for Yankee fans a little bit down, kind of calm them down with the bat. I mean, who knows? Maybe we do get Trevor Bauer, but I see it as very unlikely. I also would throw out the point, I've said this before on the pod, that he's teammates with Sonny Gray, and it seems that he's very familiar or very, very friendly with him. And we all know our feelings on Sonny Gray, and I think everyone knows the feelings of Sonny Gray on the New York Yankees. So I don't know if he's probably in his ear too. So I'm not so sold on the Bauer thing, but so if we do get 162 games next year, because we do have the bargaining agreement and everything, so hopefully they get it done, and hopefully Manfred doesn't mess it up or anything like that.
I think next year is in what the bargaining agreement would affect 2022.
2022?
Oh,
yeah,
word.
Okay.
If the CBA, like, we're going to get 2021. If the CBA negotiations go wrong, look out for 2022. 2022 is very much up in the air.
Yeah,
okay.
They hate each other.
So to kind of what are your feelings? Obviously, sign DJ, maybe sign Tanaka. Any other little pieces that may help out? Hopefully, maybe Mike Ford just goes to a different organization and what have you.
Maybe another bullpen arm.
Give me an unrealistic, absolute, not going to happen dream wish for this offseason.
Get weird a little
Michael
bit. Just
Bradley, JT Real Muto. I don't know, man. I am more realistic than ever with this Yankee team because of the circumstances.
What about the Gary Sanchez and Higgy? Because I saw John Boy tweet out some stuff about, it was earlier in the year when we were in Baltimore, and it was when Garrett was talking with Higgy. And my thing was, I played a little bit of baseball early on, before going to school. And my thing is, you don't talk up your catcher that certain way when you're kind of inching towards big boy ball. That's more like little league stuff. So I was kind of sold that Garrett wasn't really vibing with Gary correctly. And I told Tyler and on the pod, I was saying, don't be surprised if Kyle Higashioka gets a start and makes him look good. And now it seems like Kyle Higashioka will be his personal catchers. I don't really feel either way on personal catchers. I don't know what you think of it. Some people, I know John Boy hates personal catchers, and I think he's a big Gary fan, but I kind of saw that and I was saying, I don't know about that. So it seems like a real prove it year for Gary, no?
It's a huge prove it year for Gary because this year was a disaster year for Gary. And Garrett Cole, you hand that guy $224 million. Shit.
Better keep him happy.
Exactly. If he wants a personal catcher and that catcher is Higashioka, who caught him when they were 13 or something, then
yeah,
cool. But like for Gary, bro, like his body language this year rubbed me the wrong way early on. He slumped. I think even when he got his first hit, he did like this, like give me the ball, like he made like a gesture, like give me the ball, like he wanted to save the ball, but it was in a cocky way, like, oh, give me the ball, like, oh, my first hit, like wasn't gonna get a hit. It's like, bro, you've been playing like shit. Like, don't even make a joke. Like,
yeah, it's not funny.
You've been trash. So now Higgy, who has been a career like minors guy, come up a once in a while guy, Higgy played the whole ALDS and you didn't, dude. Like, that's
Higgy might have a job now.
Exactly. Higgy might have taken your whole shit. So 2021 will be a prove it year. I feel like Gary Sanchez needs the fans. I feel like he's the type of guy, like he can't do it without like the energy that Yankee Stadium or the rival stadium brings. And I think now, like every offseason, we're like, oh, Gary Sanchez looks like he's getting slimmer. Oh, look at Gary Sanchez hitting and swinging in the Dominican Republic. Like this offseason, you're going to see him doing the same things, but it's going to be like,
under a bigger microscope.
Yeah, it's going to be like, tighter. Yo, well, this is it, dude. Either Gary Sanchez shows us he's Gary Sanchez for 162, or the Yankees got to move on.
I think they'll have a short leash with him, too, next year.
I sent something to Tyler on Twitter today. Did you hear Didi's comments? Didi thought that it was on WFAN. They were talking about how Didi thought he needed to change the scenery, and it could be at this point that he does, but it's going to be a prove it year now, so we'll have to see. What happens there.
Gary doesn't want to change his scenery. Gary got signed by the Yankees when he was 16. Like, Gary has been in Yankee lore for so long now. What's Gary, 26?
I think 28.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
It's over 10 years that Yankee fans have known of Gary Sanchez, and that's what's tough for a lot of us because we all looked at Gary Sanchez when he came up and he hit 20 home runs in like 50 games. It was like, man, this is our catcher of the future. He's arrived. Like fastest catcher to 100 home runs. We're like, this is something we've never seen. But this year for Gary sucked, and I hated it. And like, it was in a lot of big spots when we needed him. He couldn't catch up to the fastball. A lot of people are saying that the Yankees fell out of love with Gary Sanchez this year. And what I think is, because it was a 60-game season, they will give him the opportunity for 162 to prove himself. But it's not going to be like you just said, Tyler, he's going to have a short leash. It's not going to be this like, oh, yeah, he's going to strike out 10 times in 3 games, and we're going to be like, okay. It's going to be like, no. You're probably going to start off platooning with Higgy. And if Higgy is consistently better than you, which we know he's better than you blocking the ball, we know he's got more rapport with Garrett Cole and probably some of the other pitchers than you have. Like, what the fuck? Like, this year, we're looking at Eric Kratz have a better relationship with our pitchers, where people were actually questioning whether Eric Kratz was going to catch in the postseason. Like,
oh my goodness,
imagine that, bro. I don't know about you, but the one pitcher, like when the bullpen came in, Gary got crossed up a lot this year. And, like, especially seeing Britton bounce.
Dude, did you see? What was the ball? Okay, so the Cleveland game,
the
he almost –
split finger.
If we – in that extra inning game, he hits the home run in the game, and then he hits the sac fly, and then I'm like, okay, Gary, you got your shit together. We're gonna have a nice postseason, and then he lets that ball by. Oh my God, Yankee fans would have been rip shit if that happened. Oh my God, it would have been real bad. But and yeah, he just has those moments, and I think it was in the Tampa series where he had like a higher fastball, and it just went boom right off the glove, and I think Carabas tweeted, he's like, Gary Sanchez, great at framing baseballs, just fantastic.
Didn't it like almost? Did it hit him in the face?
No, it hit the top of his glove, and he just looked at it like, wait, what just happened?
And that goes back to his body language, sometimes his awareness. Sometimes I don't think he's that locked in, and you're the catcher calling the game. You better be locked in.
Yeah.
And it's troubling. It's troubling because I think sometimes Gary, because he was signed at 16, and I tell everybody to go do this. Go look up the movie Pelotero. It's the story of Miguel Sano, but they make one mention of Gary Sanchez in that story, which should tell you everything about Gary Sanchez. It's my favorite baseball movie. I didn't have a favorite baseball movie for a while, and people are like, what's your favorite baseball movie in the last few years? Pelotero. And in Pelotero, they talk about there's one other player in this draft besides Miguel Sano, and they're like, who's that? And they're like, Gary Sanchez. He's the best player out here, and he's already signed with the Yankees. So, like, imagine –
Let's check that out.
Yeah, imagine you're a sophomore in high school, and people are telling you you're going to be the next great catcher for the New York Yankees. In your mind, that you're already that.
You're getting a big head.
You're untouchable. And I think Gary got touched this year, and we'll see what happens.
Smacked in the face with reality for sure.
And, you know what's crazy about it? He didn't get hit by a pitch or strain his groin. He was healthy all year.
Yeah, that was also the thing. It was he would have the injury troubles. So it's going to be a big time prove it year for Gary for sure. So kind of wrap it up. 2021, and then kind of for my thing, I've talked about it too on the pod that I love Cashman's decisions, and I think he's so good of a decision maker with personnel and everything. And I know they consider analytics. Leave it what it is. It's a part of baseball. That's what it has to be. I don't think they've extended Boone officially on whatever deal because I think his contract's up. But do you think with the next couple years, you think the hot seat is not only going to get even more hotter for Aaron Boone than it was this year, but Brian Cashman?
Yeah, this is New York. This is market one.
If we can't win with this team, it's like people are, what the fuck is going on?
All New York sports are struggling, but they look at the Yankees as the one solid consistent for all of these years. But now people are looking at it and they're like, hold on. The Yankees haven't been to a World Series in 11 years. Like they win games, but like, why can't they finish? Why can't they get all the way to the finish line? And Aaron Boone, I'm telling you, if we talked about him not being a puppet, he is, because Cashman already came out and said, I'd like for him to get as much time as Girardi got, as Torrey got. So if you're already saying after 3 years, 2.5, because this season was a half season, you're already saying you would like for him to get as much time as the Joes that came before him. That means you're saying, I would like to keep him there because he does what we tell him to do. Not necessarily because if you weren't attached to a guy like that, you wouldn't come out and say, I would like him to get X amount of time. You would just say, hey, we'll see what happens, because in New York, every coach's seat is hot. Like if you're not winning, like Joe Judge's seat is hot. Adam Gase shouldn't even be sitting in his seat.
New York football
the Knicks just hired a new coach. The Nets had a good coach and fired him so they could hire a new coach. Like all these seats are hot. So with Boone, it's like, bro, he was a back-to-back 100 winning 100 won 100 games in back-to-back seasons. That's great. I don't think many guys have ever done that, but his seat should be hot. But I think he's just fine. But Cashman is another one. I'm such a big Cashman guy and Cash we trust. I was. This year, I kind of cooled off on that, and I'm starting to see a lot of other people question it. And now people are starting to really look at his moves and his lack of developing pitching or making moves for pitching. It's like, yeah, you might be able to get us Edwin Encarnacion last year, but like get us an arm this year or last year at the trade deadline. Like the last 2 trade deadlines, we could have used some bullpen help, and we said, nah, we're good. We got guys. We're going to get healthy and flip the switch, and we didn't. And that should make people question Brian Cashman, and I don't think he's going to go anywhere because it's a family business. He's been there for so long.
Yeah.
But his seat is definitely heating up.
Definitely, for sure.
He's the chosen one.
We want to, hopefully we get an arm that pans out more, even as much as like Garrett Cole has. But Keith, we really appreciate you coming on for the pod today, man. Really.
Yo, thanks for having me. I'm glad I could make it. Like I said, my allergies. I've even on the pod. Like if people watch this on YouTube and they see the video and they see me stepping off, like I'm stepping off to go blow my nose. But I didn't want to skip the pod. I checked you guys' last episode out with Stanzo from BP, and I was like, all right, I gotta. I was able to book it with Rob, and I was like, I gotta be available when these guys want me to be available. And more power to you guys. I'll say about this podcast game, especially in the Yankee world, like, do you and do it how you want to do it and carve out your niche, carve out your space of how you guys want to be seen, and not just the pod, how you want to be seen on Twitter, how you want to be seen on Instagram, how you want your YouTube to be, and do it on your own. Don't try and be like us. Don't try and be like Pinstripe Strong, John Boy Media, Bronx Pinstripes, Short Porch. Like, you can't. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
People will gravitate to you guys because of your style and your personality and how you do things. There's 30 Yankee pods, but like the ones that are successful, the ones that are prominent, are the ones that they figured out where they fit. They're consistent, and they have a fan base or listeners that really rock with the co-hosts. And I think you guys got something if you just keep going. Like, find more people like me to be guests and just keep building your brand, and let me know if you need anything from me. I got you,
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
We appreciate that, Keith. For real. It was dope to see you be able to come on. But before we, say our thanks and say goodbyes and do all that, I got to ask you one more question.
Yep.
Where the hell did that shirt come from? I fuck with it a lot.
Yo, so I went out to lunch with my fiance and her mom. Like, I had the jean jacket on, and I had this. So this is, I'll try and put it in the camera.
Benny the Jet.
That shit's tough.
Let's get it.
So this is Benny the Jet, Sandlot, and this shirt is made by Roosevelt's. And if you guys follow John Boy Media, Roosevelt's pretty much sponsors us.
Yeah.
They're dope. They're located in Jersey City, Hoboken area, not far from me. They posted me a couple times. I've got some free shirts from them, and they got the drip. And it's not just it's baseball swag, but then it's also pop culture. So free ad for Roosevelt. Shout out to the guys at Roosevelt's.
Yeah, I really appreciate your comments, and we're just trying to be ourselves. And the thing, me and Tyler have been about, a lot of, I don't want to say because we want to engage with the Yankees Twitter, but a lot of times I don't have a problem being a little problematic with my opinions, because sometimes I see the shit that comes out of Yankee fans' mouth on this on Twitter, and I just, we want to have our own voice, and we want to, vibe with the people that we do, and we just appreciate you saying that about us. And we're going to keep going, and hopefully, maybe during the season or something, we could possibly have you on again and talk about hopefully 2021 season that's going in the direction that we want to see it, man.
Yeah, Yankees Twitter, it's call people out on that dumb shit. Call people you'll see my guy Joe's got 23,000 followers.
Love Joe's. I love Joe's opinions.
If somebody says something stupid to him, he will quote tweet to his whole following and be like, hold on, this is wrong. So don't be afraid to call people out, but also don't get too deep into it. It's toxic, and you're gonna be talking to Yankees 27 rings 2020, and you don't know who you're talking to, and you're going to be the one that looks dumb because it's you have a brand.
Why are you even
You
engaging?
have a podcast. You have a name out there, and you're arguing with someone that no one knows.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think there was one a little while ago that he tweeted. He's like, okay, Yankee fans, expect this offseason and don't get out of here. And that one I loved, and I said that to Tyler. I'm like, this is exactly what I'm thinking with this. So I love Joe's and what he puts out. But once again, man, thanks for coming on the pod. Go follow Keith at Keith McPherson on Twitter. I think _, between there. Go follow him. Follow us at Four Savages on Twitter. And we're going to be engaging this offseason and see what's going on with what they do. Follow or subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a rate and review. We love honest reviews and see what you guys think about us. And we'll keep it going. Listen to us on Spotify too. And Keith, once again, man, thanks for coming on.
appreciate you guys. I'll be sure to, I think I subscribed, I followed you guys, and I'll be listening and keeping in touch. And yeah, when we get back to the stadium, man, when we can get back into Yankee Stadium for the 162, that's when this stuff will be real. So you guys keep working, keep building. And then when we get to opening day and you're more established with more episodes and more followers and just more people knowing like who you are and what you're about, like we'll all come together. I'm always about community over competition because I've seen a lot of people in the Yankee space try to like bring people down or hate on people. And I'm like, listen, if you're dope, you're going to rise to the top. If you're not dope, you're not going to go anywhere. So you might as well help people doing the same thing as you, because at the end of the day, we're all rooting for the same team and we all want the same thing. We want to have a fucking parade and we want to go to the championship games and win the World Series. That's it.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Can't wait.
Maybe we'll get to throw a couple back at Billy's or Stan's someday.
Yeah, dude. Can't wait.
If we're back to normal ever.
Hopefully.
If you guys know anything about me, I am at Billy's, Stan's, the Dugout, La Bodega. I'm in the Bronx. I'm in the Bronx before the game, during the game, and after the game when we can actually go to the game. So, yeah, I'll be around. Just hit me.
All right.
Love to hear it, brother.
So once again, subscribe to the pod on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Give us both a follow on Twitter, and we will catch you next time. Peace.